you so much. So as we know that COVID-19 pandemic, an issue that becoming more and more critical every day. So before that, for your information, this forum is organized by students Interreligious Dialogue with course instructor Dr. Fatmir Shehu himself. Thank you so much to all committees for making this happen. So without further ado, I would like to invite our brother Muhammad Faiz Risali to recite some Quranic verses and also dua for the introduction of this forum. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Good morning to all the audience. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, works righteousness, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with what is better. Then will he between whom and thee was hatred become as it were thy friend and intimate. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint. None but person of the greatest good fortune. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Fusilat, chapter 41, verses 33 to 35. Sadaqallahul Azim.
Sadaqallahul Azim. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our multimedia committees has provided us a video, so I think we can watch together. Thank you to Multimedia Committees for the video opening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this agenda, it is supposed to we are supposed to have the presence of Associate Prof. Dean, but due to an inevitable event, he cannot be with us. But he sent his apology, and also he felt really sorry for not being able with us this morning. Therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Fatemi Shehu, the director of this forum, for welcoming speech and also the interreligious dialogue guidelines. Please welcome.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you very much, Sister Akashia, and I would like to express our thanks and gratitude to all the participants and especially our invited speakers. And a very good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now, on behalf of our dear brother Dean Professor Shukran, so he couldn't make it to be with us today. So I'd like to express to you his gratitude and thanks for being here with us today. And he, of course, that is within the mission and the aim of our kulia as well as university. And the most important thing here, this is a part of this forum. It is a part of our course that is related to interreligious dialogue in our department of Usuluddin and comparative religion. So on behalf of both the dean and the department and our head of department, Dr. Surya, so I would like to thank all of you and especially our speakers here that we have with us today, Prof. Abdulaziz Bergug, and we have Dr. Lee. This is representative of Islam and Muslim community. And we have Dr. Living Lee, who is the representative of Christianity and the Christian community. And we have Major Harwan Singh, who is the representative of Sikhism and the Sikh community. And the last one, we have Mr. Tan, who is the representative of Buddhism and the Buddhist community. So all of you welcome to our program. So before we proceed with the program further, I would like to remind all of us that this forum, it is meant for the acquisition of knowledge based on the representatives of different religious communities in Malaysia, and especially when you look at a representative of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Sikhism. Now, before we proceed further, I would like to remind all of us about certain guidelines that we have to follow during this forum, which is very important, and it is related to a very day-to-day issue that all of us are facing, that is about COVID-19 pandemic. And the theme, the most important thing that we are going to look at it from the various perspectives according to each one's religion, that is the neighborhood and harmony during COVID-19. Now, I would like to remind especially the speakers and the participants, when it comes to the speakers, please present the topic based on teachings of your own religion and provide beneficial solutions related to the theme of this forum, that is neighborhood and harmony during COVID-19 pandemic from the perspective of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Sikhism. And guideline number 2, show kindness and mutual respect towards each other's views. So that is related to both the speakers and the participants. And number 3, accept others as they are and not as we want them to be. So we don't have to be exclusive in that point of view. We have to be inclusive while we are respecting others. We expect them to respect us too. And number 4, avoid any attempt of offending and vilifying the teachings of other religions, whether this is related to the speakers and the participants. Interact and exchange information with the intention of sharing knowledge. So this is the very aim of this forum, as I mentioned previously. So we are here to acquire new knowledge that is going to be shared with us from the representatives of different 4 religions that we have in Malaysia. And guideline number 6, that is the last one, observe the aim of interreligious dialogue throughout this event, the one that I mentioned to you. So we have to show respect to each other regardless of our differences. And with that, I would like to thank all of you and may Allah bless our forum today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Thank you, Dr. Fatimah. Inshallah. Moving right along, it is now my pleasure to introduce our first respected guest speaker, represent Islam, Dr. Abdul Aziz Bergot from Kuliah of Islamic Reward Knowledge and Human Sciences, IIUM. So I would like to invite our sister, Anis Nabila Badili, to introduce briefly on our first speaker. Please welcome.
Thank you to Sister Akasha. My name is Anis Nabila Betubadli, and for now I will introduce to all of you our first speaker, also as Muslim representative, which is Dr. Abdul Aziz Bergot. So, Dr. Abdul Aziz is originally from Algeria and currently serves as a professor of Islamic Studies and Civilization in Kuliah of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences at IUM. So he has published about 11 books and over 60 scholarly articles locally and internationally, and also appointed as examiner for over 80 PhD and master thesis for the interreligious field. Professor Bergot has participated widely in as the delegates in interfaith dialogue, not only in Malaysia but also in international level, which is in United Kingdom, Turkey, India, and other few more countries. So without further ado, I will now invite Dr. Abdul Aziz Bergot to give his speech.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning to everyone. First of all, Dr. Fatmir, the director of the program, our respected speakers, Dr. Living Lee, Mr. Tan Siang, and Major Harwan Singh, our student, our researchers, brothers and sisters, the audience. Once again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning once again. First of all, I am very happy to take part in this very important forum dealing with one of the very pressing and important topics of merit and interest to all of us. In fact, not only to all of us here in Malaysia, but to the whole world, to the whole mankind. As humanity is facing this type of issues and problems at the global level, our responsibility becomes more global. So we need to extend our inclusiveness not only to our neighbors in Malaysia here, or in our university, or in our community, but to the entire world, because saving others is saving ourselves today. The world has changed. Many things are changing. So it will be very important for us to understand the heavy responsibility that each and every one of us should be doing. Not only Muslims or people or other faith, but everyone living in this world today. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to explain to you certain concepts from an Islamic perspective, and then I come to application or to apply some of these ideas in what we are facing today. Our focus today is about the concept of neighborhood or neighbor and the concept of harmony. So I will take this, I think, I'm not sure, we are speaking for 15 or 20 minutes, Dr. Fatmir? 20 minutes, okay. Now, I think I sent one PowerPoint to our sister Anis. If she wants to put it there on the screen, will be okay. Or if you want me to put it also, I can put from here. I can't hear.
Prof, if you can share.
Okay, I can just very simple one just for our brothers to follow up. Uh, so please bear with me. I'm not sure whether you see the screen there.
Okay. Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Now let me explain to you how Islam looks at the concept of neighbor and the concept of harmony. I want you first of all to understand certain things of the Islamic worldview, because I want to put the concept of neighborhood and the concept of harmony in the bigger context of the religion of Islam. Let's say one of the verses of the Quran speaks about or says, in the name of God, I have created you. God speaks, I have created you from a single pair of male and female, and made you into nations and tribes. You may know one another. The most honored of you in the sight of God is the pious one, is the one who does good to himself, to others. So the criteria and the measure of differentiation and distinction among people in all this world, whether they are Muslim or of other nations, of other faiths, the measure is good work, good deeds, is piety, is closeness to the Lord, to God. That's number one. Based on this concept, Islam speaks about people, any human in the world, as vicegerent of God, as a servant of God, as someone who is created by God for a mission, for a purpose in life, which is to be a vicegerent of God. God says in the Quran, I have placed a vicegerent on earth to do the job of vicegerency. What is this job of vicegerency? In brief, is to worship God. God says in another verse, I haven't created the jinn and the humans save or accept to worship me. I don't want anything from them. I give them everything. I give them the universe. I give them bounties. I give them good shape. I give them senses. I give them reason. I give them soul. I give them heart. I give them all this. I give them prophethood. I give them guidance. I give them human nature. I don't need anything from them. I just need from them to worship me. So, based on this, we found in the Quranic teaching that Quran says every human is honored, is honored. Inna karamna bani Adam. Any human created by God is honored in the sense of what? In the sense of giving him freedom of choice, in the sense of giving him the choice to choose his way of life, but to be responsible and accountable for his actions, in the sense that we are all brothers in humanity. We are all brothers in humanity. So, but later on we differ. We differ in what? In our religions, in our culture, in our thinking, in our way of life. So, differences is one of the laws and patterns of life. But in order to manage these differences and to manage our job as vicegerents of God, and we are differing in aqidah, in views, in perception, God urged us to come to a common ground, to find more common space, to work and to help one another and to cooperate and to know one another. In this spirit of knowing one another, we need to come in contact with each other. We need to cooperate in economics, in politics, in society, in social, in helping each other. We need to, but to do this, we need to accept each other. We need to respect each other. We need to honor each other. We need to help each other. Brothers and sisters, as we are moving in the explanation, I wanted to tell you that there was a time where humanity was divided by frontiers, was divided by many things because of the lack of technology, lack of industry, lack of means to come together. But today, humanity becomes in one small village, in one small boat or ship. We are all in one place. I want just to recall one of the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad. He says that in the meaning, those who follow the teachings of God and those who don't follow are like a group of people who sail in a boat or in a ship. Some of them stay on the top and some of them on the bottom. Those who are in the bottom ask those on the top to give them, they were feeling hungry or thirsty, they ask them to give them water to drink. But those on the top, they refuse to give. Then those on the bottom say, if you don't give us, we will dig and break the boat or the ship from the bottom, then we will sink all. The Prophet advised, say, in that context, whether you save all yourselves, whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim, or you sink all. Humanity today is in this situation, in this context. So we need to save all of ourselves, or we sink all together. Now, based on this introduction, how the concept of harmony and neighbor comes. What does mean a neighbor? If we look at the Quranic teachings, a neighbor, what is a neighbor? According to the Quran or according to the tradition of the Prophet, a neighbor is the one who is staying, whether beside you, from this side or this side, or from the top. If you are living in a building, in a tall tower, top or down or left or. The Prophet said in one of the hadith, your neighbor, he just counted how many houses. Let's say if my neighbor is from my left side or my right side, how many people I can consider as neighbor are 40. 40 houses is my neighbor. So I need to take care of these 40. Imagine each one of us in this place takes 40 care of 40 people from this side, 40 people from this side, and the second one will take 40, the third one will take 40, then we will get the whole world becomes our neighbor. So who is a neighbor? Is the one whom you see in the morning and you greet, is close to you there. So who is the neighbor today in this world of the one village, one ship? Using Facebook, using the internet, using technology, who is your neighbor? I can just do the analogy and say the world becomes my neighbor. So all this world has right on me, has rights, and I have to perform those rights of my neighbor. The neighbor is, in the Islamic teachings, has a very special place because of the worldview of Islam, which says that we are all brothers, unity of humanity, unity of destination in this world, and many other things which we share together. Neighbor is given a great place in Islam, and this neighbor has rights over me. And imagine, I can tell you, sociologically speaking, neighborhood is the first line of defense in any social problem we face in life. Anything happens to you, the first one to come to you is your neighbor. If there is a fire, if there is a pandemic, if there is, by nature like this, the closest people to you are the people who will come to your rescue. So that's why Islam speaks a lot about the importance of neighborhood, the importance of harmony with the neighbor. Now, there are traditions the traditions of the Prophet speak about neighbor. There is a neighbor who is your neighbor, can be your relative, from your relatives, can be any Muslim, can be any non-Muslim. So in the time of the Prophet used to deal with all types of Muslims and people of other faiths, including the Jew. There was one of the books of Islam, al-Bukhari, narrated that there was a Yahudi or a Jew neighbor to the Prophet, and he was not a Muslim, he was a Jew, and he was not obliged or asked to become a Muslim. It's his choice of life. It's up to him. As long as he's peaceful, he's coexisting, there is no anything. In fact, we have a duty towards him, to ask about him, to care about him, to look for if he has any issue, any problem, whether health or food, or the Prophet was always asking about him. And he was always asking the family, the members, whether they check on him, whether they talk about him, whether they speak about him, whether they check whether he needs something. One time, and always the Prophet visits and passes from him. And this becomes a tradition, becomes a practice. So the neighbor can be anyone, a Muslim or people of other faiths. You have many duties towards your neighbor, to ask about them, to provide them shelter if they need, to give them gifts if they need, if you have. And there is even to the extent that there is one tradition says, if in a day you eat and you become full and your neighbor is hungry, you will be asked by God. There is a woman, according to the tradition, sent to hell because she was not good to her neighbors, saying bad things about her, saying harsh things about them. She was, according to the hadith, to the tradition, she was a good praying, she was fasting, she was doing all the duties, but she didn't treat the neighbor properly, correctly, and she created fitna with the neighbor. This is going to be punished. So to this extent that the neighbor and the bond with the neighbor is very important, to the extent that there is another hadith which is mentioned in your announcement, says that Angel Jibril, whenever he comes to the Prophet, he always speaks to the Prophet about the neighbor, to the extent that the Prophet was thinking or assumed that this neighbor will become one of the heirs, or the one who will get the inheritance from him, like his son or his daughter, or to this extent. That's how Islam places the concept of neighbor in its teachings. So brothers and sisters, in the Constitution of Medina, when the Prophet wrote the Constitution of Medina, and in Medina, in that first society of Islam, the Jew, the Christian, all types of people were there. He wrote the Constitution where there is citizenship, there is respect, there is honor to everyone staying in the community in harmony, as long as they follow the law. Now, this introduction to our topic today, the issue of neighborhood and harmony in Islam, is crucial, is central. Because on the one hand, when you see that Islam says to the Prophet Muhammad, you are a mercy to all mankind. You are وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have sent you but a mercy to all mankind. How do we translate this? We translate it in another verse of the Quran which says to the Prophet, you are وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You are of great virtue, of great character. And the Prophet says in his tradition, be a believer, but do what you say. So brothers and sisters, as Muslims first, we need to practice the concept of neighborhood, the concept of harmony, because this is the essence of Islam. If we just talk theoretically about this, and we don't go down to take care of our neighbor, and in our case, our neighbor is the whole world, then it is problematic. What even more so when you have a pandemic, when you have a COVID-19, which takes lives every day, which destroys the works, the jobs, the lives of people, thousands and millions of people losing and will be losing their jobs. Who will be giving shelter to this? Is the good neighbor, is the good person of harmony, because we are here to save humanity. When it comes to belief and aqidah and our way of life, each one has his own way of life. But when it comes to humanity, Islam teaches the idea of coming to one common ground. That common ground is we believe in God and we serve humanity as servants of God. So, brothers and sisters, it is very important in a context where we live today that we don't just say that we have a neighbor, but we have to go down. Even I tell you, even in this context of grief and sorrow to many people who lose their jobs, lose their lives, lose their many things, just not necessarily always helping is in material kind, but it can be by caring about them, by smiling to them, by asking about them, by talking to them, by going with them to the hospital, by visiting them in the hospital. Not necessarily I need to be rich to help others. Some people, they cannot even find a smile. They cannot even find someone to stand with them in this situation. So as you are all aware, as our Muslim audience here, that Islam says that faith is 73 portions. A lot of things you can do when you are a believer. The highest one is you believe in God. The lowest one, when you see a rubbish or where you see something not harmful in the road or in any place, you go and take it. Today, brothers and sisters, in this pandemic, what we need to do? We need to always, the doctors, the ministry, the government are telling us to protect ourselves and to protect others. The simple things is what? To clean our hands, to sanitize, to put the mask, to respect others, to care about others, to do all this is the least we do. But this is very important in the sight of God. So, brothers and sisters, it is very important to understand that the idea of neighbor is very crucial. The idea of coexistence is very crucial. But from our perspective, we are not telling people to be a good neighbor, you must come to the religion of Islam. Or to be a good neighbor, you must follow me. No, to be a good neighbor is to do good to yourself and good to other people. But anyone has to do his part and portion. That's what Islam says about the responsibility. So there is a tradition of the Prophet here, if you see in this screen, talks about a woman, because woman, the hadith mentions about a woman even giving a simple gift. You know what can be a gift? Gift is not necessarily a ring of gold. It's not necessarily a car. It is just a lunch. A pack of lunch can be a gift. Don't say, oh yeah, this pack of lunch only ada nasi lima and sikit tayo sayo sikit telur. That's very little. How come I do this? That makes a difference in the sight of God. And for that person, that's what Islam says when the Prophet says, ad-dinul mu'amala. Religion is what you do, is action, is helping with good intention. I give you, before I end, I give you one story. There is one scholar was known in the history of Islam. His name is Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, one of the great ulama, one of the great scholars. He was a good person, and he is middle class, means he is okay in terms of financial. He always goes around to check his neighbors, the close neighbors. Whatever he has, he will distribute. Whatever, one of his neighbors, the closest neighbor is a Jew at that time. And then he every time gives him gift, gives him things. Then the Jews say, oh, you man, why do you do this? Why are you doing all this? I think you want to push me indirectly to convert to Islam. You know what was the answer of Abdullah ibn Umar? Say, no, if I want to do that, I can come directly to you. That's what my religion tells me. But I do this because it's my duty as a vicegerent of God. That's my prophet. That's what he said. So, brothers and sisters, it comes to the pandemic. It comes to a situation where we are living today. Our religions, most of the religions will tell you almost the same what I'm saying. But what is important, what makes different is the action, is what we do, is the programs, is the real things that we can do. So, brothers and sisters, I don't think that I have to extend more than this, as I think my 20 minutes almost over or already over. Please bear in mind that living in harmony and respecting our neighbor and helping others and trying to implement the teachings of our religion in these trying times will be one of the great solutions that we should be doing. This is the time where we change our mindset. We create the culture of helping one another, knowing one another, respecting one another, cooperating with one another, and showing the right role model of serving, real service or serving of humanity. With this, I thank you all. May God bless you. Wassalamualaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. MashaAllah, indeed, neighbors are part and parcel in our life. Thank you so much, Dr. Abdul Aziz, for the amazing speech. Thank you so much. So now it is the time. I would like to invite our sister, Adriana Amira, to introduce briefly our respected speaker, Dr. Livingly, who represent Christianity this morning. Please welcome.
All right. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. My name is Nur Adriana and I'm the second moderator for today's forum. So I would like to continue our forum today with our second dialogist. Let me introduce to all of you our Christian representative for today's forum, Dr. Livingly, a retired professor of geology from University of Malaya. So for the time being, he is the chairman elder of People's Park Baptist Church in Petaling Jaya and actively involved with interreligious dialogue for many years. And he also spent most of his time preaching and teaching the Bible to various groups through Zoom online meet. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Livingly to deliver the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Can you all hear me? Or is it better if I remove the headphone? Which is better?
Yeah, we can
Is
hear.
this better?
Yeah.
Yes. This is better.
Yes.
Okay.
It's better.
I will share screen now and then proceed with my presentation. Okay. Share screen. Okay, can you all see?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah?
you can see.
Okay, so you can see and hear me. Okay, I will just go on to slideshow. Okay. Right. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to join to share this forum. And I think this topic is very relevant for our time, and so it's good that we can meet together, even though we physically cannot. We can meet on Zoom to do this together. Okay. Now, I was asked to give a brief intro to Christianity before proceeding with the topic. Christianity just a mere man. The Christians believe he was more than just a man, but he was God, became human, became man. And why did he come? He came to reveal God to us by fulfilling more than 300 prophecies in the Old Testament. That's the part of the Bible that's written before the birth of Jesus. And the New Testament is the part that's written after he came. So the Old Testament had 300 prophecies on his life, death, and resurrection, which he fulfilled when he came. And his death on the cross, which is central to Christianity, paid the price for our sins and reconciled us with God so that we can have eternal life as his beloved children. And the term that Christians use for people who have embraced Jesus to be their Lord and Savior is they have been born again. And just like we are born into a physical family, we'll be born into God's family, which is the church universal. And by that, I mean true believers. When people say what's the best church to join, I say there's no such thing as best church. In every church, you'll find hypocrites and you find true believers. So all true believers all over the world belongs to God's family. And so we do this by receiving Jesus as our Lord and Savior. And then after we have been born again, we Christians will reach out to others with the gospel, which means good news of God's love in words and deeds, to bring others to Christ so that they too can know God intimately as their heavenly Father and live for him by loving others. So the emphasis on Christianity is right relationship with God and man, and not rules, regulations, or rituals. Okay? And the symbol of Christianity, as all of you know, is the cross, which exemplifies the vertical relationship with God. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And also love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, now that you all have heard of the term Good Samaritan, I'm sure, but not many people know what is the origin of this term. We just think that, you read in the newspaper, there's this Good Samaritan who helped somebody. You think of somebody who just a do-gooder, see? But actually this term Good Samaritan originated from a parable that Jesus told when he was tested by an expert of the law who asked him, what must I do to gain eternal life? And Jesus said, well, what does your law say? And he, the summary of the law, you have so many laws in the Bible about doing good and so on. He says the summary of the law is this: you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You see? And then the second part is the human part. You must love your neighbor as yourself. And to this, to justify himself and say, so he asked him, who is my neighbor? How do you define neighbor? And instead of defining him to him by a definition, Jesus told him a parable or story with a moral behind it. And the story is, what is this called? A Good Samaritan. So there was this man, presumably a Jew, because he was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by robbers and stripped almost naked, taken all his things away and beaten up and left half dead, beside the road. And two people passed by who were his fellow Jews. In fact, more than that, one was a priest, a Jewish priest, and another was a temple worker. So you can see this illustrated in and but they just passed this victim by and didn't help him. And then along help this victim, and what he did was he dressed up his wounds, put him on his own donkey, took him to an inn. At the time they don't have hospital, and then he paid the he asked the innkeeper to take care of him, and he paid him in advance for treating him on his behalf. And then he said, I will come when I come back, I will pay you more if he incurs more expenses. Now, one thing that's we needs to know, why is it called a Good Samaritan? You see, the Jews and the Samaritans were sort of enemies, or rather the Jews, who think highly of themselves as God's people, they looked down at the Samaritans because they were like half caste. They were the Jews who had married other people of other races. And so the Jews usually looked down on the Samaritans. Priest, the Jewish priest, or the Jewish temple worker, the Levite, helping the wounded person. He says the Samaritan was the one who helped the wounded person. And he turned the question round to the lawyer who tried to test him and say, so instead of asking who is my neighbor I should help, I ask you, who is the person who is the neighbor? And the lawyer says, the one who helped the man. And Jesus said, go and do likewise. So that's the story of the Good Samaritan. And what Jesus showed us is that, instead of asking who is my neighbor whom I should help, it is what does it mean to be a neighbor to others? And instead of making the hero a Jew, he shows that a despised Samaritan, someone whom Jews look down on, is actually the one who is the true neighbor, because he did what was. We are asked to share something about neighborhood and harmony during COVID-19. One of the things I'm sure you have also heard of this, go and practice the golden rules. In almost every religion teach that, whether in the positive or negative. In the negative is, don't do unto others what you don't want others to do to you. But in the Bible, it's put in the positive. It says, so in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. So this is love in action. Put yourself into the shoes of someone who has been, like the person brought down and in need of help, and ask yourself the question, if I were in his place, what would be most helpful and kind? And I wish that someone would do. Christianity teaches. So I was asked to share on some Christian examples during this COVID-19 time. We know that there are many needs, and it's not just physical, not just people, dying from COVID-19 or being in a terrible position with lungs, breathing difficulties and all that, and family members all worried and so on and all that. So they're more than just physical or medical or health needs. Of course, the first one is physical, medical needs, and we owe it to not just ourselves, but to others. I think it's faulty reasoning to say that because I'm young and healthy, I don't care, I can just go about doing what I want, like you see some of these people in the West reasoning, but you have to protect not only yourself, you have to think of the mask is not just to prevent you from getting COVID-19, but from you spreading it to others, just in case you are asymptomatic, you got it, but you don't know it, is it? So there's only being responsible, and other SOP like not gathering in big groups in a confined space and all that to help prevent the spread of the virus before this vaccination thing is a reality. And so Christians have done that. Our church is now meeting online and providing. We have also provide for those who were in lack, especially in the early days when PPE was very short. Personal protective equipment. We gathered funds and sent it to especially frontliners, certain hospitals which were short of this PPE, and on practical terms, looking up for or treatment, send them to the clinics for testing and so on. And economic, of course, we say that many people are not just affected physically but financially, loss of jobs, those especially in the those daily wage workers and all that. It's the most vulnerable, the B40, the Orang Asal natives, especially in the interior of Sabah, Sarawak. We send a lot of aid there. Of course, the government is doing its part, but there are lots of people who you may have the provision, but you don't know how to go and get it, you see. You don't even know how to fill a form to get your B40 aid and so on. And so we had people on the ground who were on the lookout and go in to help feed and take care of these people. And of course, there's also the foreigners, when this is not a time for blame game and say that or foreign workers are the cause of the spread of and then we get angry with them and put all sorts of horrible things on the internet. Put yourself into the shoe of one of them. How would you want to be treated at such a time? And we would do the right thing if we show kindness and mercy, even if whether we think people deserve or don't deserve it. Then emotional. A lot of people are suffering. They may be very rich and all that, but the fear is gripping them, reaching out to the lonely, the depressed, the fearful in our neighborhoods. If you can visit, but if not, thank God for things like WhatsApp, phone contact for counseling and prayer. Just having someone to talk to for those who are confined in their homes, especially the old and the disabled. Debunking fake news and combating bad negative reports online. Encouraging them with good news and uplifting stories. And of course, the spiritual part is important, reminding people of God's sovereignty, love and care for us even in these difficult times, praying and caring for each other, praying for wisdom for the governing authorities to deal with the pandemic effectively. Like now, our leaders don't know what to do. See, you lock down too much, economy, a lot of people will suffer. You don't lock down, the COVID-19, don't know will spread third wave, fourth wave, or whatever it is. So they need wisdom to know how to handle it, maybe with targeted MCO and so on. So this is what the Christians were told to do. Pray, visit, either online, and take care of people in physical, economic, emotional, and spiritual needs. So my conclusion here, and harmony during COVID-19. The Chinese have this word for crisis, the crisis like the pandemic we are suffering now. Crisis in Chinese comprise of two words. One saying danger, and the other word is opportunity. So in the midst of a crisis, we have got both danger, yes, but also it gives us a lot of opportunity to reach out to people, to our neighbors, to help them, and to build bridges to people, to give us opportunity to love them and serve them. and they to us, you know. Don't just think of giving, but receiving is also a blessing. So thriving in a crisis is using the pain for future gain. And I borrowed this from this slide, and I changed your connections with your customers, but I've replaced customers with neighbors. Deepen your connections with your neighbors. This is a good time to build bridges and reach out to people. And so crisis will push us closer together instead of divide us. If we just forget about all this thing about race and so on, and the religion and so on and all that. But who is my neighbor? The one to whom who is in need. And how should I treat them? Treat them as just as I would want others to treat me if I were in their situation, walking in their shoes. Thank you very much. That's what I have to share.
Thank you so much. I really love when you say that how you want to be treated, that's how you have to act. Oh my, such a great advice. Thank you so much, Dr. Living Lee. Now, I would like to invite our sister, Siti Murni, to introduce briefly our respected guest, Major Hawan, who present Sikhism this morning. Please welcome.
All right. Thank you, Sister Akasha. All right. My name is Siti Murni. Okay. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to all. I hope you are still fresh and excited to continue our forum with the next panel, which from Sikhism representative Major Harwan Singh. Before we move further, I would like to introduce to all of you a little bit big background about Major Harwan Singh. Major Harwan Singh, he was a graduate from Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, United Kingdom, and he was an army and had attended training at the Royal Corps Training Center in Winchester, United Kingdom a while ago. And the highlight in his career was when he served in the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Namibia, Africa in 89s and 90s. While serving in army, he attended tertiary education at College Tunku Abdul Rahman. Upon his retirement in 1993, he joined the corporate sector and was a pioneer of the first LRT system in Malaysia. And he went to rise the position of head on the operation division. Since retirement from work, he spent more time in seeking spiritual knowledge on Sikhism and other religion as well. So yeah, Major Harwan, this platform is yours now.
Thank you very much, Ade. Selamat pagi dan salam kepada semua yang hadir. My profound greetings to the management of IIUM, the organizers of this forum, fellow speakers, students, and audience of this forum. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this forum to present the Sikh perspective related to the above discussion. I begin by presenting a brief overview of Sikhism. My screen doesn't show anybody at all. Okay, anyway. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can.
Okay, thank you.
Please proceed. We can hear you.
I begin by presenting a brief overview of Sikhism. Sikhism, the most recent and the fifth largest of the major religions of the world, was founded by Guru Nanak Dev, who lived between 1469 and 1539, that is since 551 years ago. Guru Nanak Dev took birth at Talwandi Rai Boy, later named after him as Nankana Sahib, now located in the province of Punjab, Pakistan. Sikhism is a monoistic religion It is a unique religion. Is it a blend of two or more religions? Sikhism preaches the message of devotion, remembrance of God at all times, truthful living, equality between all human beings, social justice, and above all, submission to Hukam, the cosmic law. Sikhism has about 20 million, 25 million worshippers throughout the world. Its teachings and practices are universal. It does not practice empty rituals, pilgrimages, or idol worship. It teaches to practice and balance between spiritual and temporal life. Guru Nanak's teachings are of the spirituality of the here and now, not life after death. The sixth scripture is known as the Guru Granth Sahib. It was compiled by the fifth Sikh Guru, Arjan Dev, and Sahib, also famously known as the Golden Temple in Amritsar, Punjab, India. A remarkable feature of the Guru Granth Sahib is that it was written and compiled by the Gurus during the time of the Gurus and also contains the writings of religious teachers and devotees of Hinduism and Islam, exhibiting thereby respect for all religions, believe in the freedom of human spirit, virtues of toleration, and noble quality of appreciation of whatever was valued in other religious traditions. This is a classic testimony of the teachings of the Gurus. We show respect and living in harmony with people of other religions. The Sikh house of worship is called Gurdwara, a place of learning. Relation of the society of the time, tyranny, injustice, cruelty, greed, and corruption. He witnessed the exploitation of the masses by the powerful rulers, government administrators, clergy, and the rich. He was anguished to watch the untouchables or the outcasts and the status of women who were placed on the lowest rung of the social order. Guru Nanak took up the challenge to serve these people. Guru Nanak preached human freedom and universal equality. Guru Nanak's message was of peace, love, emancipation, deliverance, and parity. In his four codices over the period of more than 20 years, Guru Nanak preached the message of universal humanism. He traveled the length and the width of the Indian subcontinent in the east to the Middle Eastern and Central Asian countries in the west, including Makkah, Medina, and Baghdad. He talked about the universal God, Sarva Sanja Rabba, which means one who is accessible to all seekers of truth, irrespective of creed, color, gender, ethnicity, and geographical considerations. Guru Nanak thus laid the groundwork for a universal guidance for living, which was for the benefit of every member of civil society. Guru Nanak's 9 successors enriched Nanak's teachings and religious philosophy of Gurmat over a period of 169 years, that is, after his death, 1539 to the passing away of the 10th Guru, Gobind Singh, in 17, and by elaborating and amplifying it through their own Bani or sacred hymns. How does Sikhism deal with neighborhood and harmony during a pandemic like COVID-19? In addressing this topic, I would like to begin by saying that the Sikh scripture does not make specific mention about how to live and deal with this with a situation of COVID-19 pandemic. Instead, the spiritual values of selfless service towards humanity practiced by the Sikh Gurus, which are mentioned in the scriptures repeatedly, form the basis of Sikhism's way of helping to overcome human suffering of any form. The terms neighborhood and harmony, though different in form, are in reality mutually supporting. For good neighborhood results in harmony, one must be a good neighbor. In other words, one must play his or her part by helping others in times of need, playing his or her civil role as a citizen of the community, then there will be harmony. Guru Nanak Dev laid down the three spiritual pillars of Sikhism, Nam Japo, to meditate and remember God at all times, Kirta Karo, to work honestly for a living, Vandashako, to share wealth and happiness with others in need. These three pillars form the foundation stone of the Sikh spiritual philosophy of selfless service towards the needy. These three concepts are relevant and applicable in all situations, such as a pandemic, in situations of war, political upheaval, and any epidemic. It simply means in any situations of human suffering. Epidemics and pandemics have always been part of human life since time immemorial. When health services were not as developed, humans relied on the guidance and teachings of men of religion to find succor and solace. In this regard, the Sikh Gurus did selfless service for the sick and needy. The Sikh Gurus led by example. They took upon themselves to personally treat the sick. Here are some examples of what the Gurus did. Guru Nanak, the first Guru, during one of his travels, took shelter in the house of a leper. The Guru entered the leper's home, bandaged his wounds, and eventually cured him. Especially lepers. Guru Amardas, the third Guru, abolished sati, the burning of widows on the fire of the deceased husband, and discouraged the restriction of intercaste marriages. The fifth Guru, Arjan Dev, built a leprosy home in the city of Taran. The eighth Guru, Harkrishan, treated and cured people suffering from leprosy in the city of Delhi. He is also known for curing the people of smallpox that struck the city at that time. He took upon himself the suffering of the people and died at a very young age. We can see that the way of life and practices of human values such as peace, love, compassion, and harmony introduced and timeless and relevant even today, and shall remain relevant in the future. The Sikh Gurus also practice and preach universal equality and human values which comprise moral and social responsibility, ethical values of knowledge, and truthful living. The Guru said, one who works hard to make an honest living and practices charity finds the righteous path. Guru Granth Sahib, First Guru, page 1245. Without compassion, one can't be civilized. The Guru said, Nanak will stand by the lowest of the lowest not with the elite. Societies that take care of the downtrodden have the blessings of God. Guru Granth Sahib, First Guru, page 15. Water, but love changes it into an invigorating mountain spring. The Guru said, the human body that is empty of love crumples into a heap of ashes. Guru Granth Sahib, First Guru, page 62. Only a humble person can forgive and show fortitude and moral courage. The Guru said, O Nanak, sweetness and humility are the essence of virtues of goodness. Guru Granth Sahib, First Guru, page 470. Those who believe in the fatherhood of one God are not outcast, and they are not afraid of anyone. Guru Granth Sahib, First Guru, page 796. These are the universal humanistic values that form the prerequisite of harmonious living. Which with all creation, the Sikhs are inspired by these three values to provide service to all in need at all times in all situations. Neighborhood and harmony tradition of Sikhs, Guru Nanak introduced langar, the open community kitchen to all to feed the needy. Sangat, the holy congregation open to all, and Pangat, the sitting together for a common meal, irrespective of social status, signifying equality of all. This you would have, some of the students who have visited Gurdwaras would have experienced for themselves. Sikh traditions has it that Guru Arjan Dev, the fifth Guru, invited a Muslim saint, Mian Mir, to lay the foundation stone of Harmandir AD. This is said it was to strengthen the Sikh-Muslim relationship. The 10th Guru, Gobind Singh, created the Khalsa Panth, the Order of the Pure, in 1699, and decreed between the Hindu and the Muslims, the Sikh shall be the bridge. The Khalsa will defend the weak and the poor without any distinction of caste, color, country, or creed. Here, there are some slides to be shown. If Ade Murni, you can put them on the screen. Gurdwaras are requested by the authorities to prepare and distribute food packages to residents in the lockdown areas and communities. The Sikhs, in the spirit of selfless service, oblige on all occasions. Such facilities to ferry sick persons to hospitals, provide medical and paramedical aid through hospitals and clinics. They also distributed personal protective equipment to the needy. Many even did marketing for their neighbors who could not go to the market, even cooking food in their houses and distributing to their neighborhoods. And some, you might be surprised, also took to babysitting of single mothers who had to work from home when the schools were closed and the children were at home too. Sikh Gurdwaras, NGOs, and individuals disseminated real-time status of the pandemic situation to the elderly who have no access to such information. The most highly commendable achievement of this experience is that the Sikhs united among themselves in the pandemic. In conclusion, to answer the question of how can we live in an environment of good neighborhood and harmony, The most basic approach would be through education at all levels. There must be political will and complete support from administrative leaders. This can be enhanced by support from community and interfaith organizations. Forums like this one, organized by IUM, create better understanding and harmony. We need to develop a culture to build trust and equality for all. We need to develop a culture of accepting, respecting, and reconciling our cultural and religious differences and striving to live in harmony with all creation. The Ministry of National Unity should embrace this moment in uniting to fight this pandemic. This will further enhance national unity. To put all the above in a nutshell, I quote a hymn from the Sikh scripture: "Neither is any my foe, nor am I enemy of any. I have made all my living friends, and I am a friend of one and all." Guru Granth Sahib, 5th Guru, page 671. Sikhs have been nurtured by the Sikh Gurus to live in the spirit of Chardi Kala, meaning ascended spirits all the time. This is what inspires Sikhs to perform selfless service to all mankind. Finally, I wish to mention that the last verse of the Sikh personal or congregational prayers called the Ardas or supplication ends as which means, may the whole of humanity be blessed with peace and prosperity in your will, by your grace, O God. Such a universal appeal uplifts the human spirit and well-being by offering the message of love, peaceful coexistence, and good neighborhood spirit for all humanity, enhancing harmony. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Major Harwand, for the speech. I agree when you say that it is our responsibility to maintain the harmony and peace among us. So now I would like to invite our sister, Wan Nur Izzah, to introduce our fourth speaker this morning, Mr. Tan, who present Buddhism. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you to the Master of Ceremony. Okay, we come to the last panel for today's forum. Okay, I am Wan Nurul Izzah, the moderator for the last panel. Okay, without wasting any time, I will introduce to all of you about our last panel for today's forum. Okay, he is Mr. Tan Siang Chie. He is currently the director of Nalanda Institute, which the education arm of Nalanda Buddhist Society, and he has been studying Buddhism since the age of 12. And not only just that, he has been traveled to India, Thailand, Indonesia, as well as Myanmar to deepen his study and practice of Buddhism. And I can say that among his biggest achievement that he has headed the organizing committee of the Wachana 2017 conference, which attracted more than 600 participants from around Southeast Asia. And he is actively sharing his understanding of Buddhist teaching in various places in Malaysia as well as Singapore. And now that we have known a little bit about him, so without further ado, I will pass the floor to Mr. Tan Siang Chie to share his speech on the perspective of Buddhism. Please welcome. Mr. Tan, your mic.
I will unmute. Yeah. Thank you very much, Cik Wan. First of all, greetings to everyone who is attending this forum. It is indeed, I'm indeed very happy to be part of this event, yeah, where the followers or the leaders actually of the different religions get together And this is very heartening. Yeah, it makes one very happy, yeah, to see that we can foster goodwill, fellowship, harmony, and the sense of neighborhood, yeah, in this kind of activity. I've been asked by Dr. Fatmir to share a little bit about Buddhism, whom that I think some of you might already be familiar with, but I would like to take you through the very basics, yeah, of the teachings so that you can see its connections with the topic that we are discussing today. Am I allowed to share screen, or will you share screen from your side?
Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay, so I will put my presentation share. Is it on? Yes. Right. So these are the perspectives from my understanding. Buddhism being one of the world religions, I believe that following the number of followers is the fourth largest. And the statistics show that we have about not a lot compared to the leading world religions. There are about 500 million Buddhists currently, yeah, in the world. And a little bit about the teachings and how it relates to the way that we have conducted efforts to provide relief to the people who are affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. So Buddhism, the founder of Buddhism is this personage we call Gautama the Buddha, who lived about 2,600 years ago. And according to historians and scholars, he was born around the year 563, take a few decades, 563 BCE. Yeah, and he passed away at the age of 80. And since then, Buddhism has spread to different areas, mainly of Asia, with two very major schools. So the movement that went to the southern Asian countries are known as the Southern Schools, and it's been given the name of Theravada Buddhism. And the missionaries that took it up to the north, that is to China, to Korea, to Japan, these are known as the Northern Schools. Yeah, and we know them as Mahayana Buddhism. And when it moved over to China, it developed a very unique approach to understanding the teachings. And this we have called Chinese Buddhism. So the three important symbols starting from the left here are the Buddha, the founder of these teachings, the Dhamma, yeah, symbolized by the wheel, we call it Dhamma, yeah, which is the teachings, which are the teachings of the Buddha, and then the Sangha. We use this word Sangha to symbolize the followers, those who have devoted their lives wholeheartedly to the study and practice of the Buddha's teachings, Buddhism. In fact, this word Buddhism is coined by the British when they went to India and they came into contact with these teachings. They wanted to call it something other than its original name. The original name in the ancient Pali language, yeah, it's a very old Indian language that is used only for religious purposes. Yeah, they don't use it for any other purposes. Unlike Sanskrit, yeah, which is also another old Indian language, is used for astronomy, is used for medicine, is used for a lot of purposes. But the Pali language is used primarily for the study of Buddhism. At that time, it was called the teachings and the practice, yeah, in ancient Pali. But the Buddhists, the British gave it this name, Buddhism, after the founder, which is the Buddha. So the twin pillars, there are two important pillars whereby Buddhists live their life. And these pillars are called wisdom and compassion. So the Buddha, when he gave, when he introduced this and he gave the simile, they are the wings of the bird. Yeah, if you have one, you cannot fly. So you must have two in order to fly. And so the two wings of Buddhism are wisdom and compassion. So when these two work together, they bring about harmony and neighborhood to all of mankind, we feel. And not just all of mankind, we also think that it brings a spirit of togetherness to all living beings, which also include the animals, yeah, that we see. So let me say something about the teachings, which will make our efforts towards the pandemic a little bit clearer. The important primary teaching of the Buddha is called the Four Noble Truths. And when we look at the Four Noble Truths, yeah, you can see how it has shaped our perspective, yeah, towards helping others, towards the understanding of neighborhood, yeah, and as well as harmony among living beings. The first of the truth, and this is a universal truth, is that all living beings have this experience of unsatisfactoriness. In the ancient Pali, the word dukkha is used, and it has been also used in the Malay language. When you get any mail from the government saying dengan dukkha cita, then you will understand the feeling. Yeah, it is not pleasant. So there is this unpleasantness that is in the substrata of our life. Yeah, and we feel it in different levels. Sometimes it is a little bit of an irritation to the deep experience of pain, of a disease, yeah, such as when a person catches COVID-19 and it is beyond cure, the way this person dies, yeah, is really unsatisfactory. It is really suffering, yeah, because they will drown in the fluids in their lungs. And the next thing the Buddha taught, yeah, as the noble truth, is that of the cause of this suffering or unsatisfactoriness. It is, yeah, our attachment to things. And when we are attached to things, yeah, it brings about this experience of unsatisfactoriness. Then the Buddha said there is an end. Yeah, it is likened to a doctor's diagnosis. The doctor diagnoses the disease and gives a cure. So the cure of the unsatisfactoriness, yeah, is to understand, is to have wisdom, yeah, to see things as they really are. And the method, which is the medicine to be taken, is called the Noble Eightfold Path. So there are 8 of these path factors which a person has to practice, not just practice, study, and then practice, and then be free of the unsatisfactoriness, yeah, that is prevalent, yeah, in all aspects of our life. Then, yeah, the Buddha teaches a very important perspective towards how we see existence. Yeah, and that is, yeah, that all things in this world, yeah, in this life, are impermanent, and they are in a state of flux. Yeah, we are attached to things because we give these things the quality of permanence. But when we see how impermanent these things are, then we are not so attached to them. So sometimes we are very attached to the things that we own. We are attached to our own body. We are attached to our fame. We are attached to concepts that we think are very important to us. But when we look closely, we will see that these things change every second, every moment. Scientists tell us that matter is also subject to change, and it is always in a state of flux. The second of these characteristics is unsatisfactoriness. Because we want things to be as they are, it gives us unsatisfactoriness because it doesn't stay the same. You know, I used to have a lot of hair, and it used to be all black. Now I have less hair and quite a lot turning white, and I think I had better skin tone as well. But the more I hang on to these things, it gives me a sense of sadness that these things have passed. So this unsatisfactoriness, as explained earlier, exists in us when we don't want things to change. We want things to be the way that we want them to be all the time. So when it comes to this pandemic, we want our state of existence to always be the same. And we know of many countries in the world that when you impose on them certain regulations, such as the wearing of masks, such as a kind of a lockdown, they get very unhappy and they rebel against these regulations that is imposed by the government. Because they say, these are my rights. My rights are to do the things that I want. And so they are unhappy to abide by the regulations. And we can see the results. When they do not follow the regulations of the government to control and manage them, things get worse. Many people fall ill and they die by the thousands, not just thousands, hundreds of thousands. And one of the last of these characteristics is that of non-self. We as a self are also changing all the time. And so therefore, although we want to hang on to the self-image that we have, we see that it cannot be this way. So to Buddhists, this is part and parcel of life. We cannot change it. So therefore, when we get sick, we understand that it is impermanent and it is unsatisfactory. So we should not get angry. We should not vent our anger towards certain groups of people who are trying to make things better. Alternatively, we should control our minds. We should develop our sense of gratitude that there is a caring government that is hoping to make things better for every one of us. So what are the efforts for managing the pandemic, for the welfare of society, for the whole of the neighborhood? As I mentioned before, and I'd just like to reiterate, Buddhists see all of mankind actually as neighbors. Why do we say this? Because we share in the same experience. All of us are subject to growing old. All of us are subject to disease. All of us in the end are subject to death. So we are together. There is no one who says that he or she is free from these things. And therefore, sharing these characteristics makes us all brothers and sisters, and also neighbors. Because knowing the character of this pandemic, once it starts in one part of the world, there is nowhere that is safe. Due to the nature of world travel, it might start in one little corner of one country, And because of our interconnectedness, this pandemic, this terrible virus, just takes over, wherever it can get. So this virus, doesn't care about whether we are belonging to one religion, or to the other. So I would now like to address the effects of the pandemic. And I did a little bit of research and found some statistics, which I hope I can share with you because it does form and also give influences the way that we plan our responses. It is found that more than half of Malaysians experience mental health issues during the MCO. And this was in the early days. And even in the CMCO, hopefully not EMCO, CMCO, people are affected mentally by all these lockdowns and restrictions. And from the survey, which this organization did, it was found that from the respondents, which is about 1,000 over, 22% of those that have been surveyed experience severe and extremely severe anxiety. Mainly women and those below the age of 35. Also, those who lived in crowded households, meaning during the MCO, they had to face each other. They could not go anywhere. They couldn't even sometimes go into the garden because some of us don't have gardens. We look at each other 24 hours a day. And so that has given rise to anxiety, to depression. And sad to say, it has even given rise to suicide. People take their lives because they cannot face the conditions of this pandemic. So even those in crowded households experience difficulty. Those who are staying alone because they do not have support, they also experience anxiety and depression. And I would like to share this because it's quite important. In the early days, the society were worried because of the exposure to infection. So they didn't know about the character of the virus. They were worried about the health. And then when the pandemic came under more control, but they still couldn't do the things they wanted, they began to experience anxiety due to the work from home environment, meaning to say they wanted to go back to their old way of life, but couldn't. There were still all these restrictions. And then finally, it was found that the effect on the economy, when workers were terminated or asked to go on leave without pay, the anxiety also became quite pronounced. And it made people very unsure, very insecure about what's going on in life. I would like to share this because this is, as I said, it helps to shape our response to the pandemic. And these are my reflections. And my organization, which is Nalanda Institute, we have used the information to help our community and beyond as well. Firstly, we have to understand the virus doesn't discriminate. When it sees a host, it latches on. So whether we are Muslim or Buddhist, or Sikh or Christian, we are fair game to this virus. And the coronavirus is a natural phenomenon. It arises because there are causes and conditions. It is not anyone's fault that it arises. Secondly, thirdly, there is no miracle cure. Although we accept that there are those who can express their faith, we use prayers, we use chants to make ourselves feel better. And it does give us peace of mind until this vaccine, which everyone talks about, is in our hands and does its job. There is no miracle cure. So we have to take the important steps to protect ourselves. So we have to trust in the government's efforts. Yeah. And although there is debate, and we must use rationality and science, yeah, to be part of that debate, whether we have a blanket lockdown or we have targeted lockdowns. This is due to our understanding, and we must engage the government in this discussion. Community needs of materials are very important. And here, the needs of the community are very varied. There are, of course, as I mentioned, the material needs, yeah, to be able to have food, yeah, to be able to have medicines, yeah, to relieve fever, whatever it is very important. To be able to go to hospitals and not find that the hospitals are overloaded is also very important. Here, in the teachings of the Buddha, it is talked about charity, what we do as charity. And the Buddha said there are three kinds of charity. The first is material charity. We give food, we give money, and this is very clear to see. But the Buddha said the second kind, yeah, is also very important. And this is the giving of fearlessness. Fearlessness means to take away people's anxiety, to take away our friends, our neighbors' fear, you know, their insecurities. So how do we do that? We do that by talking to them, yeah, by saying nice words, by making them feel secure. Yeah, of course, we have to take precaution when we communicate with them, or we can communicate online. When we do these things, we are doing charity, actually. We are taking away their worry, yeah, their fear, and they feel so much better, yeah, because of it. So it is an important part, yeah, of what we do for our neighbors. And we have to manage the levels of our anxiety. It is very important, yeah, for our good health. Because when we start worrying, our minds is full of worry. It does not do good to our body, which starts secreting substances that dampen our resistance. So therefore, we need to be optimistic. And when we offer the charity of fearlessness, yeah, to our neighbors, our good friends, yeah, it is helping them to boost their immunity to fight the disease. And lastly, we have to help each other as much as possible. Yeah. And this is, as I mentioned, an expression of compassion. And we must not differentiate. This group of people are my group of people. That group of people are not my group of people. I can't help them. We cannot differentiate. Because in truth, if our neighbor has the virus, we are going to catch it very easily from them. So if everybody is healthy, if everybody is free, yeah, we are all at ease. And so I'd like to share some of the incidents or events that has been going on. Yeah, in the United Nations, the Secretary General tells everybody, especially the Buddhists, during Vesak Day, that we cannot celebrate this important day of the Buddha's birth and enlightenment in the normal way. We have to be tolerant. We have to accept that we can't, you know, celebrate as usual, and we must develop the qualities of patience. And the Dalai Lama said, yeah, let us meet the coronavirus with compassion. Go others. And he says, it is quite significant that Buddhists, just praying alone is not enough. You have to get up. You have to use your energy, yeah, to go out there and make things better. So as you know, this figure, the Dalai Lama, yeah, is the most well-known face of Buddhism throughout the world. Yeah, and he is a dynamic advocate, yeah, of compassionate acts, yeah, towards all living beings. And some organizations within the Buddhist fold have been more organized. Yeah, they are more knowledgeable. And the Tzu Chi Foundation, which has its headquarters in Taiwan and is very active in Malaysia, has been doing a lot, and taking funds, collecting funds from different organizations to do their work. And when they found that Sabah was in a dire condition, these are the things that they did, in order to help with the relief efforts. They have very cleverly designed beds, out of recycled material. And you can see it here. They donated to the state of Sabah 473 because hospital beds were becoming very, very short. And so they used community halls, to put the patients in. So you can see a few hundred of these beds being assembled, and used by the people who contracted the coronavirus. And the PPE and the masks, gloves, etc., were being donated to the people of Sabah, the unfortunate that it spread. And now we found that it has come back to the peninsula. They are also making efforts to help in the material relief of the coronavirus. So I'd like to share with you, because I think the understanding the teachings are important. The Buddha said, we can be shot by 2 arrows when we face a problem of disease. We can have the disease, and the disease strikes us. And also the lockdown might strike us. But let us not have 2 arrows shot at us. The first is the arrow, the actual arrow. The second is the arrow in our minds. So let us not grieve. Let us not despair. We have to accept the state of the situation, and not let our unhealthy thoughts, our negative emotions run away with us, and rebel against the government, and resist the efforts, to do good, for everyone. So at Nalanda, these are the postings that we've had. We've reminded the community to stay calm, to help, to support the government in their efforts, to stay home, to stay safe, to let the mind, be at peace. And we've also organized special forums on how to stay positive during the pandemic. And I was fortunate to be the moderator of the forums. And there are other organizations that will reach out to the Chinese-speaking Buddhists on how to educate themselves regarding the steps to take. So I'd like to thank the organizers, Dr. Fatmir, for organizing this inter-religious dialogue where we can share our ideas. It is so crucial because I noticed that in Malaysia, we are beginning to segregate ourselves. The communities segregate ourselves in not a very healthy fashion. And the more we can come together to talk to each other, to share, I think I'm fortunate in being the 4th speaker, because when I listen to the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd speaker, I learn so much from them. And in a way, I'm able to adjust my presentation after listening to the wisdom of all my 3 brothers who have talked before me. So we have to look forward, because we know that in this interconnected world, this will not be the only disaster we will face as a community. There will be coming disasters. I don't mean to spread doom and gloom, but our world is very small. And so when we look at our world, there are no borders. We are in it together. Where else can we go? We can't go to Mars. We can't go to the moon. We are in it. And the virus, this coronavirus, thrives in these conditions of interconnectedness. Therefore, we have to come together. So I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak. And in the tradition of Buddhists, I'd like to wish everyone, may all beings be well and happy and safe. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tan. Stay home, stay healthy. All right, for your clear explanation from your perspective, from your religion, Buddhism. Thank you so much. So I would like to express again, thank you so much to all speakers and the audience here. Stay with us this morning until now, discussing neighborhood and harmony from from different perspectives of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Sikhism. Thank you so much. So I would like to remind the audience to fill the form that we provide, the link in the chat room. Your response are highly appreciated. All right. So now we are going to a question and answer session. So the first question is from our brother, Wan Izzat Azri, to Dr. Abdul Aziz. All right. So he asks how to maintain our good relationship with our neighbor in this pandemic, since that we cannot, this pandemic requires us to not get contact with people. Thank you, Doctor. Please welcome, Doctor.
Yeah. Thank you, sister. Let me once again thank also our speakers. As our last speaker mentioned, that we have learned a lot from the other perspective. I think that in itself is a great wealth that we have gained today. I think I really thank all the speakers for this. Now, I think one of the good and positive aspects of this COVID-19, we have to learn also lessons from what's happening. We shouldn't just look at it from the negative and we are facing problem. No, what we are learning for the future. We might have many other pandemics, maybe much more complex than this. So we need to create the mentality, the mindset, the culture for living together in the future. That's the aim, very important thing that we need to, our educational institution, religious institutions, social institution, NGOs, the government, the public, all we need to work together towards this, because the future is much more complex than what we see in this pandemic. Now, I think one of the positive things is that this COVID has urged us, or even shown us the way to use a lot of hidden platforms and means of communication. We can do wonders through Facebook, through internet. We can communicate. We can, in fact, create. We help people through virtual platforms. Not necessarily always we need to meet face to face to support others psychologically or mentally. We can send to them even the information, the guidelines, the solutions, and we can do a lot. And now the whole Malaysia and the whole world is creating new platforms and new networks where we combine, or blended, when we combine between face-to-face and the other means. I think, to me, we can do a lot to enhance relations, even through online, even through all these medium other than the face-to-face. And I think many are already doing, and a lot of relations among people are fostering. A lot of support and help is actually already channeled to many people. I channel in Africa already. Just if, particularly those who are having like you want to give your charity anywhere in the world, you just put your 10 ringgit in the online, and you can help people. You can bring. I think this pandemic helped to create more awareness about our well-being in a global context from different places. It has actually pushed the religions, the governments, the NGOs, the civil society, all to start thinking and working and doing. And I'm sure with our creativity, we'll find a lot of means, ways, and techniques how to reach. It's all related to our will, to our mindset, our goal, our sense of responsibility towards the world. I don't think that humanity will fall short of using all the existing means to reach. It's about our heart, our soul, our mind, our orientation. The mindset need to change. We are living in a very complex, small place. We need to create that new men, new people, new minds that care. Once you get that one, I think the ways we will get. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Indeed, there are many ways to contact. Even though we are in this pandemic to stay home, yeah, we can contact them through online. So inshallah, thank you, Doctor. So now I have we have a question to all right, to Dr. Living Lee. Wait a moment. All right. Okay, from our sister Nur Izzati. Hello and good morning, Dr. Living Lee. My name is Nur Izzati. I have a question with regards to the term of neighborhoods that has been mentioned. May I have a clarification again that does the neighbor here includes those who is closer to you regardless of any place and not literally those living beside our house or neighborhoods? Is it correct? Thank you.
Yeah, the whole point of the Good Samaritan story was to show that we cannot limit our concept of neighborhood to just certain people, you know, those who are the correct. It extends to anybody, you know, whom we have an opportunity to interact with. That is our neighbor. So no definition of you know, next door neighbor and behind the house or in front of the house or in our own neighborhood community or our country alone and all that. So we have become a globalized world, like some of the other speakers have also said. And so and there's no limit now with the means that's provided to us to do good to, you know, people in other places, in other countries. No excuse anymore for us to say that, you know, they're too far away or that there's none of my business, is it? But of course, the difficulty then is, you know, you can't be the savior of the world. You can't meet everybody's needs. So you have to be selective. And sometimes that is paid and from hunger and starvation and famine and natural disasters and so on. But we owe it to ourselves to do good to whoever we can. And sometimes it is right, those people inside our own house, you know. I've seen people who treat outside people very nicely, but their own family members, they shout and abuse their children and the wife and all that. So we must not get this concept of familiarity breeds contempt. It's not physical distancing or where they are anymore, but it's a change of heart within us to treat people, whoever they are, as we would like to be treated ourselves. Thank you very much.
Indeed, that's true. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Livilan. So the next question is to Major Harwan. So from our sister Muna, if a Sikh is facing with a hurtful person, what does he or she do? And if the Sikh leave the person be because of their hurtful nature, does that count as a love for self? Yeah, I think.
Thank you. If I understand the question, it says that if a Sikh deals with a hateful or hard person, what do the Sikh do? Am I right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Sikh philosophy says, the Guru or Gurmat of Sikh religious philosophy says that you cannot control the feelings of other people, but you can control your own feelings and the way you respond to that feeling. So if somebody says something harsh to you, and then you should not respond in a harsh way. First, one must try to understand why has he been hurt or why is he feeling that way. And when we understand the feelings of the other person, Sikhism, the Sikh preaching is that you do not act harshly to the person who does not like you or is harsh towards you, but treat him with compassion. Try to understand what he is trying, why he is in that situation. And when you understand his situation, then you'll be able to address that particular problem and explain to him, and he will come out to be satisfactory. He'll be satisfied with your explanation. And here it is harmony, because if you react harshly, then there is not going to be harmony. There will be people, he will come up probably with another reason to be hateful to you, and that's not going to help. So it's understanding, it's explaining, it's thinking of harmony and how we can live together in a situation thinks about you. And that is the way I think Sikhism teaches to address such issues.
I see. All right. Thank you, Major Harwan, for the answer. So now, a question to Mr. Tan, inshallah. So good day, dear panelists. A popular stigma in mental health is weak faith, or maybe not spiritual enough, especially in today's modern world. Even though I personally find this claim is not true, it will be the best if religious representative can clarify this matter. Thank you. From Galaxy A10, yeah.
All right. But the front part of the question between faith and what I didn't quite listen.
He asked, some people say that if you're not good, or maybe you have a problem or stress, depressed, and all that, it is because you have a very weak faith and all that. What is your opinion on this matter? Is it true?
Well, I think if a person is not strong, he or she must look at how his or her mind is working, whether whether they are following healthy principles of mental well-being. And of course, one of the good things to bring about mental well-being is to have faith in one's religion, no matter what religion it is, because all religions will teach good things to its followers. It's good to be well-versed in what your religion teaches. If you want to expand, I'm sure it's also good to know what others say, about this matter. So the important thing is when a person gets all kinds of unhealthy thoughts, he or she must know how to cut himself or herself off from these thoughts. The nature of negative thoughts is that they have a life of their own. They are like the fire. If you give attention to the fire, if you give attention to the thoughts that are not doing any good, does not take you to a positive place, in fact, these thoughts might give rise to even more unhealthy tendencies. You should not give it attention, just as you put firewood into a fire. The more you give the unhealthy thought attention, the more it is going to be very happy and grow in you. So there is this concept, of you become what you practice. Meaning to say, if we keep on thinking one particular thought, or one particular kind of mentality, if we practice one particular kind of mentality, we will become what those things tell us. So if we are not happy, if we are not secure, and we are not confident in having those thoughts, and it doesn't give us any happiness, any calm or contentedness, we must know how to cut them off. And how do we cut them off? We must have the support of our friends and advisors. We must have mentors, who tell us cut off those kind of thoughts. But of course, you have to seek out wise friends and wise mentors, who will take you away, give you advice to turn your mind away from such kind of negative thoughts and negative emotions. You must be aware that your thoughts will give rise to emotions. Your thoughts can appear in your mind, but the emotions will take place in your heart. And when that takes place, when it is anchored to your heart, it's very hard to get rid of it, to manage it, for your own well-being. So go back to your teachings and see how your teachings advise you against staying in that frame of mind. You might want to do more prayers. You might want to have more discussions. Go and seek out somebody who is wiser. But don't let your mind stay in that place. Because as I said, if we do not give it attention, it will go off. But if we give it attention, if we keep thinking about it, the strength will increase. And then it will go take on an intensity, be so strong that we ourselves cannot handle it anymore. And then we will have to seek medical advice for it. So as I said, when these things they are not conducive to your mental well-being. They are not conducive to your good health. Turn your mind. Don't stay there. Go to a better place. Have compassion, have love, have faith in whatever teachings you have, rather than stay in places that are dark and gloomy, and will not do you any good at all. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. All right. The next question is to our Major Harwan. All right. Good morning. I have a question to Major Harwan. What and how does Sikhism view the pandemic and its effect to people? For example, is it viewed as a test from God, or is it a just natural thing?
I think that's a very good question. Very good question. Now, from what we have learned in the history of religions and humanity, we find that from time to time, there will be natural disasters, there will be things like famine, there will be fighting, there will be war. Now, if we just recall what the first speaker, Dr. Abdul Aziz, said, that man has been created by God, but God has also given man the choice of how to live. So, on every occasion, then we are not going to solve any problem, any problem at all. So here, the pandemic, yes, the Sikh spirituality says that we must live according to the hukum. Hukum is God's will. I think all religions preach that, living according to the hukum. So here, I like to just put forward saying that God created everything, the human beings, the whole creation. He has his way of taking care of it in every way. he has his way of balancing things. If things become very bad, one of the ways, for example, if there is too much, the population is growing too much, then he has got his way of controlling it. And his way of controlling is maybe through natural disasters, tsunami, floods, pandemics, and pandemics have been going on. It is something that we have to accept. But accepting does not mean you just sit down and don't do anything about it. It means you take care of yourself, you follow the rules that are put forward, and you also take care of your community, because earlier on there was one question about neighborhood. I would think that neighborhood works in concentric circles. Right in the center is the family, then your relatives, and then your friends, and the community, and the country, and the world. So we have to play our part and make sure that each one of us plays a role to make it even less difficult for people. Now, again, to say about whether it is pandemic is God-made, yes, definitely it is God-made, because everything is created by God. But so now that he has created this pandemic of COVID-19, he has also given the ability to mankind to produce medicine in a very, in a faster method, in a faster manner. So a few days ago, I watched the TV. It was saying that some of the vaccines that are being produced now are not the vaccines based on something extracted from the sick people, remodified and given it back to those who are healthy. No, in fact, what they have discovered is that they have discovered new chemistry to be able to produce new vaccine without relying on the traditional way of producing vaccine. So I would sum up by saying that it is not something that, or rather put it the other way, we have to accept it, and we have to deal with the ways that God has shown us to deal with it, like getting together. And many of the speakers have mentioned very valuable lessons about the experience of how we can overcoming by working together. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, maybe we can have the last question. So from Aisha Azlan, I try to make it simple. All right, maybe to all representative, but maybe Dr. Abdul Aziz, you can try to answer. So she asked that, can you share your opinion on what will be the future of religion, provided the fact that most of us will be used to practicing religion in private? Will the religious people reduce religion to secularization? And yeah, as in enhancing the privatization of practicing religion. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sister. Let me put it in a more maybe deeper way. You know, what's going on here, we are in post-normal. They call it post-normal situation. In fact, what was the normal where we were living even before the pandemic? What was humanity facing and suffering even before the pandemic? In fact, if we go and list the many problems of corruption, injustices, poverty, there were a lot of things which were there. And why these things are happening? It's in the end, God, I just quote from the Quran, God says, say, it is from within yourselves. God says in other verse, God will not change the condition of any people.
unless and until change in what is in themselves. So what's happening, whether in the normal or before normal or post-normal, we have to address the issue of people themselves. It is us who should change. I give you example. Now, I give you example of the religion of Islam, what the religion of Islam teaches, and whether we are practicing or not. The religion of Islam, I think there are many questions here. I'm just trying to answer them indirectly. The religion of Islam speaks about good life. What is good life? Good life when you have a person who is modal insan, as you say always in Bahasa. Modal insan, which is spiritually good, ethically good, physically good, health-wise good, intellectually good, relation is good. That's what religions are talking about, trying to educate and come out and build, nurture a person who abides by the teachings of religion. What are the teachings of religion in the case of Islam? It tells you don't be corrupt, don't be in your health, in your body, you should do balance, and in your nutrition, in your way of doing things. The religion tells you to be, not to lie, not to destroy lands, not to kill others, be peaceful, be respect, be this. And the Sharia of Islam tells you to be excellent, to be creative, to help others, to get. No, how much of this is implemented in our lives? Now I can answer the question of the sister, whether we are going more to secularization, or the issue is, it's about how we educate and create awareness about the role of religion. I tell you, the power of the future is not secularization. The power of the future is not sophisticated nuclear knowledge. It's not sophisticated human engineering, genetic engineering. Then the wealth of the future, the power of the future is the power of values, of ethics, of religion. So we need to find out ways how religion can play greater role. That's the savor. Wisdom is there, not in many other things that we do. So religious education, social education, cultural education, general education, tarbiyah, acculturation, awareness, coming together, helping, educating, changing mindsets. Religion can do a great job to humanity in this life where there is global warming, there is environment issues, there is all types of things. That's where the religious people and scholars, practitioners, that's your time. The future is for us. Let's find a way how to do that. Thanks.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much. And thank you to those who asked. And I am so sorry I could not read all. But inshallah, we will be having the next Face2Faith Forum 3. Who knows? So please do not forget to join us next. All right. So now we have come to the end of this forum. With it, I would like to invite Dr. Fatimah Shahu to conclude remarks and appreciation. All right, please welcome.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much, Sister Noor Akasha. And indeed, what we have seen so far, according to the presentations of our honorable speakers, starting with Prof. Abdul Aziz Barghouk from the Islamic perspective, and we have Dr. Living Lee from a Christian perspective. We have Marshall Harwansi for the Sikh perspective. And at the end, we have Mr. Tan Siang from the Buddhist perspective. And if I can say that, as it was mentioned by answering the last question by Prof. Abdul Aziz Barghouk, so we have to promote the religious education where every one of us is going to have the proper knowledge about his own religion, as well as the knowledge about the others' religions. And this can pave the way for cooperation, and only then we can have this harmony and supporting each other. Otherwise, it will be very difficult if we live alone and we isolate ourselves. And instead of promoting openness and inclusivism, if we promote exclusivism, then this will not benefit neither us as members of one particular religion, nor the members of the community as a whole. And knowing the fact that since we are in Malaysia here, we live in a society that is characterized by religious diversity. And beside that, we have many different ethnicities that they belong to the same religious community, as well as we have different cultures, different traditions, they come from different backgrounds. Then we believe, as it was presented by all the presenters here, the speakers, that religion plays a very important role in order to balance these differences. Whether we like it or not, the future, as it was mentioned by all of you, does not belong to all this material development, but it belongs to a balance between both aspects of life. So we need the aspect that is, helping us to have satisfaction, happiness. We cannot just simply buy happiness as we buy a house, but we need to earn happiness, and religion provides that value. So now we have to come back to the teachings of religion. But in order to have that, we see that recently the focus is not on religion. The focus, it is not, on the learned peoples of religion, but the focus, it is on other dimensions. They look at it from the political dimension, economic dimension. They try to separate the role of religious representatives. They put them in one basket. They put them in a corner, as if religion is meant for, the place of worship, or is meant for individuals. So through this platform, we can, as we have witnessed in this forum, we can show to others that religions indeed play a very important role to bring people together. So regardless of our differences, when you look at what we have in common, like what has been mentioned here, what I saw, that the unity, most of the presenters talk about the role of man according to his own religion. And when you look at from Islamic perspective, being a vicegerent of Allah, being the Khalifa, so that is the responsibility of man towards his relationship with God and towards humanity. And looking at from the Christian perspective, the purpose, why, according to them, Christ came here, and how to become a Christian, dedicated person to imitate the teachings of Christ and to help humanity. And beside that, when you look at from the Sikh perspective, the purpose of having this, a common ground when people come together, and the development of this kitchen. They said that is when you look at the value, that everyone is invited there to share the sorrows that they have, and they can be provided a kind of comfort to one another. And when you look at what Mr. Tan said from the Buddhist perspective, according to the teachings, yes, it is indeed, when you look at the teachings of Buddha per se, that this will provide a balance when people are going to understand them properly. And here we are not trying to, we are not trying to convert people to each other's religions, but here with these forums, we are trying to make them better followers of each one's religion. So this will remind us, when we know from others' perspective, this will make us to go back and study more our religions per se, and we try to live according to that and become a good example. And we can benefit from others. As I mentioned, this will be a reminder for us, and this will make us to cope up together, as well as to contribute, which will serve as a common ground, especially to respond to the problems that have been created by COVID-19. And I believe that these were made and presented very well by each one of you when you look at the solutions or the outcomes that every religion does provide in order to fight this, the COVID-19 that all of us are facing. And I can say here, as perhaps we can say as a golden rule that was mentioned by all of you, unity is very important. If we are not united, if we don't work together, then we cannot survive. So this will affect everyone. And as it was emphasized here, the importance of our relationship with the neighbors, it is very important in order to fight back and to provide a solution for all this kind of disease that will affect not only my neighbor, but that will affect us as individuals. So the need, for having a good relationship with our neighbors in good times, as well as in difficult times that we are facing now, And as it was mentioned that we don't need now recently, for example, to remind our neighbor through the physical point of view, but we are using other means of communication that this provide a kind of help and support to others. And as we have seen that by having this forum, and I can mention here that it was meant to be at the beginning of this year, but because of this COVID, we postponed the forum, you know. But we have seen that there is a beauty and wisdom behind this COVID, you know. Maybe we are not able to have this for maybe financial problems that we face, the budget constraint, perhaps to have a face-to-face, maybe that would be another problem. But now having this platform via online, they say virtually, then we managed to cut all these difficulties, and we had a very wonderful session with all of you. So I do appreciate, so that is what I can say. I do appreciate your contribution, and in order to appreciate that more and to be very thankful to you, so we are going to provide for each one of you a certificate of appreciation later on after the forum, inshallah. And we are going to keep in touch with you, all of you, even though we are not able to provide maybe a financial support, but we can provide a spiritual aspect. Then we can motivate all of you to support us in other programs, you know. So I think this is not just the beginning and the end, but this is a beginning of a long life that we are going to have forward, and we try to solve the problems together. So as this platform as well, it is meant for educating our young generation, and this is a very important goal that every religion is talking about. And we look at the future generation that will support and maintain peace and harmony in our community. And indeed, that is very needed in every community, as it was mentioned by most of you when I talk about not only Malaysia as a community, but humanity at large. So if we extend that contribution, I think we have achieved our aim as members of Malaysian multi-religious community, as well as followers of Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and Sikhism, and as practitioners of each religion. And indeed, I can say to you, that will be the thing that I would like to remind each one of us. We do believe that if all religious people live according to the teachings of their own religion, then we are not going to have any problem. Now, the problem is that, as it was mentioned by Prof. Abdulaziz Barghouk, so we have to take the initiative. The problem is with the people. So the problem is not with God. You know, the problem is not with the teachings of religion. The problem is how people, religious people, live, understand, interpret, and how do they cooperate with one another. So on behalf of our kulia, on behalf of the university, on behalf of our department, as well as the director of this forum, and on behalf of the students, and we have to be very thankful to them that they have worked very hard in order to make this forum be as it was, and I believe we have achieved the aim of having this forum. So I'd like to thank all of you and everyone. Thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Fatemi, for the closing remarks. As always, we Muslim start with any program or any event with dua. We also close with dua too. So, but all speakers and the audience, you may pray according to your religious teaching. So with it, I would like to invite our brother again, Muhammad Faiz Rizali, to recite dua.
Assalamualaikum and greetings to all the audience. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. O Allah, bless this event and show your mercy on all of us. O Allah, grant us knowledge to understand each other better and instill within us the feeling of mutual respect and friendly conversation. O Allah, enable us to coexist with each other in peace and harmony. O Allah, grant us patience and good health in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic and help us to overcome its challenges. O Allah, Please strengthen our faith in you during this time of hardship and grant us peaceful coexistence with our neighbors and strengthen our relationships with all the members of Malaysia's multi-religious community and human community at large. O Allah, please make it easy for all of us to be just, fair, sincere, and honest in our intentions and actions while dealing with each other. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Amin, Amin Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, brother, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. May I thank you again for your participation in this forum. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again on next Face2Faith forum, inshallah. With it, I close with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. God bless everybody.